I want to talk about what this feels like to me, like the reality, like what we talk about with stars and all this stuff, watching the skies and what it feels like to me here down here on Earth, here where we all are, where we all live. When I look up, and I went through all the same schooling that the regular public school system and things, but looking up now with a different perspective, I really I watch the sun and moon move across the ecliptic above me. Above the sun and moon, I watch the stars process, move. They turn clockwise, but they do that above the sun and the moon, and we're below the sun and the moon. So to me, I'm seeing these layers, and I have for quite a while. And then of course, I will get into the whole shifting perspective of reality, like where it's real easy now for me to, of course, I can imagine and envision living on a globe in space because I was taught that. I learned that. So it's easy for me to envision that. And it's portrayed in all the movies and everything. But the other aspect, the being able to consider and also feel that I live here on the earth, that I'm standing on the ground on a more or less flat plane. It's more or less not moving. Of course, there's a lot of movement, isn't there? There's still a lot of movement anyway, so I don't know. I can't tell. But I know what I see and I know what I feel. I also know that I don't know for sure. So it's easy for me to consider really any aspect. It really doesn't matter. Like a lot of folks, and I got caught up on it too at first when I heard the flat earth. I thought, boy, that's stupid. Until I really looked at it, really got into the feeling of it, and really observing my nature and my reality for myself in person, instead of looking for information out there uh, on the internet type of thing. Once I was able to get out and be still and instill myself inside, a lot of things made sense in different ways. Not that they're right or true or factual, it's just that they make sense to me. And once I was able to start making sense of things in other ways and build those different constructs of reality in my mind, and then just simply be able to hold on to it. Whatever the information, it doesn't matter what the information is, whether it's globe Earth, flat Earth, hollow Earth, whatever shape Earth, simulation Earth. Uh, it doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. Because I know right now that I cannot know things on that scale for a fact for myself. I know I can't, and I'm fine with that. So I'm able to hold any of those ideas or thoughts or things I hear or read or things I come up with to consider on my own. And a lot of times, it's mostly what it is now. I don't look for things anymore. I consider my own ways about things. But it's real easy for me not to get attached to any of them, not to form any emotional triggers on any of them. And it's only because I stopped that in myself, that quick reactionary state to something that didn't instantly agree with my perceived reality. I had to stop that. Like when those things would come in that, oh, that doesn't fit with my narrative, I'll attack it or I'll dismiss it or I'll ignore it or I'll have disdain for it, if only on the inside, even if I don't show it. I won't fully take it in and consider it, even if I pretend to. I don't do those things anymore. I see how counterproductive that is, and I see how that's one of the forms of mind control to keep you trapped in a certain thought paradigm, or a paradigm of reality, or a perception of reality, or locked into a certain ideology which then becomes a way of life acted out. And then it can have a lot of bad after effects as you try to reinforce. See, I'm not talking about anyone else. I don't mean to start preaching. I just said this went right to you. Sorry about that. It's because I was looking at the little camera dot thing, I guess. It was more supposed to be just a,
In general.
yeah, just in general. I did want to kind of talk about that, though. Get fired up about. And then, yeah, that came up because my son mentioned the Anunnaki thing and that part of the whole story, and beings, and how did this come about, and what might we be inside energetically, kind of with what to make up what we are, what is this, and it's all that kind of talk, and yeah, I really don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I am very curious to know what is going on, and I will say that, yeah, the narrative about the Darwinian idea that we're all evolved monkeys running around here, that was designed merely to to keep us locked in this false state of belief that we're only animals. Not that animals are only animals, as if they're nothing more than animals either, because that's a to me that's the wrong way to look at life, period. But to me, we're definitely very clearly separated and more than the animals that, to me, it seems like we should be here to be kind of watching out for, not taking advantage of each other, of course, because we should be a little bit better than that. But it did that to me too. When I thought, I used to think, well, if I evolve from a monkey, if we evolve from monkeys, well, then we're all just kind of these instinctual kind of, I don't know, maybe not quite so intelligent as we think animals running around trying to do things here, and maybe that's why things are so messed up. And then that also allowed me to go along with, well, I'll just act out these animalistic instincts and behaviors as well, because I'm just an animal too, right? Like everyone else. And that's why survival of the fittest. You got to get over on the other animals. I see how that was built like that to create that mindset. That's very destructive. Obviously, looking out there, looking at society, very destructive to have that as a. I would say any belief is destructive or can be. Any belief. Things should be more of a knowing than a belief, or just something that you're fine with not knowing. But it doesn't have to become something where I have to have an opinion on this. I have to have this as part of my reality, period. Whether I can know it or not, just because it's a belief. And if someone else doesn't have that same belief, then they're obviously not on my side. It's it's incorrect thinking. Because for me, people out there, I don't care what color they are. I don't care what they believe. I don't care if they believe anything or if they believe everything. It doesn't matter to me. To me, it's still another individual, still another man or a woman, still still someone else living their life here like I am. That's exactly what beliefs might be totally incorrect, immoral, along with the action and behavior that follow might also be immoral and incorrect. But that's there. That's theirs, and I'm fine with that because they're allowed to have their whatever. The thing is, when the incorrect and immoral beliefs or information or any of those inside incorrect or immoral patterns, when those spill outside into the physical world and they affect others, it's not right. That is not anyone's right. That's not my right. It's not anyone's right to spew that out, effect in the world based off of that incorrect or immoral stuff. Immoral. Yet they're acting. I used to act in the same fashion, and it wasn't my right to do so. I realized in a lot of times, until I realized. But also helped me to realize that others don't have the right to either. Everyone should have the right to do absolutely everything they want to do as long as it doesn't cause harm to another. And it's that absolutely. You're only told that you don't have that right because it's not written into some law. If your behavior or actions don't cause harm, physically, morally, or spiritually, to anyone around you, anyone including the life around you, the animals, even the land that we should also be stewards of, well, then everyone could live just peacefully, just fine, and do everything still together as a collective, just doing things in the right way because no one's harming each other or out to harm each other. And if I place that, say, hey, I made this new product that I think can feed folks, and this is what it is, and this is what I want to do to help. Someone else can go, oh, I use this, and this, and someone could go, oh, wait, you don't want to put those certain ingredients in because it will do this, or that to our body, and it won't help us, it will hurt us. Then that problem could be corrected. Oh, okay, well, then we'll do it this way. And then we can come to a consensus and do things in line with nature, healthy types of ways. That goes for everything: food, drink, medicine, how things are constructed and built. Instead of sharing things, folks have decided to guard all of what they're doing and then put things out in whatever form or fashion they wish. Consequences to others or themselves be damned. Things just getting put out is the other issue. Oh, that was something else I wanted to energy. Now this is just a thought, but I thought this a while back, and I thought well, of course, it seems everything is going on kind of backwards or inverted, of course, because the energy thing. I was thinking, why? So we have earth, air, wind, fire. We have plenty of ways to generate energy naturally because energy is everywhere naturally. Excuse me, naturally. But also with the electromagnetic nature of things and physicality. I was just thinking, why do we use things like wind turbines and hydroelectric dams and this and that? All of this, all of this power we use from nature to make electricity when dielectromagnetic energy is everywhere in the ether already. And it's already known how to tap into it. Tesla was doing that, and then prior. But that's known. It's being used. It's being used. The whole 0 point energy and all this. I want to say I know that because I feel that because I feel it at my core. So while I don't have any kind of physical proof, I feel I know that. So in knowing that, and then knowing just other simple things that I know, I wonder, why do we generate so much electricity to create magnetism? See, Here waves, it radiates and all that way. It seems to me backwards. Could you let her in there, please? Thank you. So, yeah, I don't know what she wants. Thank you. Um, Imagine a flywheel, because this is about magnets. A flywheel, like on a car, and it has those. You got a wheel in the center. It turns to span fan blades. So on those blades that come off the outside, I was thinking if you were to position or attach a magnet to each one with the north south pole, the one direction, face it the same direction all the way around at an angle, and you were to get another piece where you could attach magnets with the force, the repulsive force, repulsing in the other way. So the other pole facing at an angle. So you have these magnets, right? As soon as all those magnets were attached, and as soon as the other piece was placed over where the magnetic force would be pushing it against each other, and you let go, just the force of the magnets would push it and cause perpetual motion. With an attachment off of this piece now that's spinning, you can attach some kind of generator, alternator, whatever, with wires coming off to take the electricity that's now being produced by perpetual motion. That's not dependent on fire or steam or heat to turn a turbine, or the fall of water that may or may not be there to turn the turbine, power of wind blowing on fan blades to turn a turbine. Just the magnetic force that's already there could perpetually spin something and create energy, could it not?
It would spin forever too. Yeah, as
That's
long.
what I mean. To me, yeah, when I was thinking of that, I thought should be such an absolute simple way to create perpetual motion, which could in turn generate electricity and power. So, and it makes, so of course that calls into question, why do we pay for all this electricity? Why do we generate electricity in the way we generate it? In a backwards, inefficient way, it seems. Say one aspect of nature, just the wind or just the steam. That's taking, that's directly needing that resource from nature to make that happen because you're using that one element of nature. When you use an element that's connected to all the elements, say the ether, which all the exist in, the electromagnetism of that ether is a perpetual element that's in all of those other elements. So just by using that, you don't need to focus on this element or that anymore. But I figured that was the point. Because if you have to focus on just coal, or we need oil now to make this, now we have to have water power, so we have to build this dam to have this water to be used to. Well, now you just made a monopoly on a resource that's finite because we're in a finite physical place that's probably infinite, whatever. I don't know, but I see that's how that gains control, especially when you have a monetary system. Well, different forms of monopolies everywhere. It's like the game, isn't it? But worse, because it's ridiculously real, and people suffer and don't have things just because others others seem to want to do things in these backward ways to maintain control and power and the fake authority that individuals tend to falsely believe that they have over other individuals. It's my it's a big thing for me. When I in the military, I had some small amount of fake authority while while being part of a, a sort of another slave system. But I get how the authority thing works, and then I get how the authority is everywhere out there in whatever aspect of life, whether it's religion or academia or politics, it doesn't matter. All these folks, and I was one of them too, under this false impression that authority, some authority, can somehow be granted or bestowed upon another by another living, breathing individual here on earth. No, we're all born the same way with the exact same amount of rights and ability and potentiality, and maybe not ability, but potentiality. All of that is the same. The whole life experience, I would guess we all come in maybe after conception, maybe with the same expectations, thinking we're going to be a part of all the same thing because we should be, and there shouldn't be, what I mean? But maybe not. I really don't know how it goes because I don't remember. Maybe after conception, I really knew what I was coming, all these false beliefs hammered into me, and then hopefully try and break those during this life. Maybe I knew that. I don't know. I know it now. That's my point. Now I know it. So that's all I want to get across too, is all this putting folks on pedestals and all this fake authority wielding going on is all it's doing is perpetuating the suffering of everyone, even and the people that are in those positions of false authority. I can't imagine. I can't imagine just dealing with what I had to deal with in my little small role in the world and during my life, which it could be as big of a role, I guess, as any else. I really don't know. I'm not comparing because to me, there's no comparison. It's all individual experiences, but I can't imagine some of the folks that have such huge followings of other folks that idolize them and look up to them and literally in some cases worship them. I can't imagine how it would be to knowingly deceive all those people constantly, to knowingly act and behave purposefully in ways that you know that they will emulate and that will hurt them. Like, I can't imagine what that does to that individual's soul and their spirit just because of how crushed mine was with just a normal, what I thought normal life. I thought I lived a pretty normal life, sort of, kind of, you know. But even just my normal life without the want of power, without running around trying to control others and without being overly materialistically greedy because I wasn't. I didn't have even like at least I saved myself a little bit from that stuff because even what I had to deal with, I can't imagine, man. It's for for some of the damage being done by some of the stuff that's being talked and taught and portrayed and acted and behaved by by others. Like, yeah, I can't imagine the damage that's individual doing that, misleading folks like that. Ah, and that's what I bet that's what keeps them out from wanting to face that inner self, that those inner demons that build up from those kind of actions over a lifetime. But that's what it takes. It takes going inside and really looking at it and going, wait, I should have probably never done some of the things the way I should have done them. I should have never looked at other folks the way I looked at them. I should have never I should have never treated other life as a possession or as if it was something to be controlled or used or divided and steered in different ways. Like that's the kind of stuff that needs to really be dealt with to really correct those imbalances inside, because it's imbalances of thought and feeling. Because without the feeling down there, without living from the place of feeling, so people get trapped in their mind, trapped in thought, and they live from here, and they think this is okay. They think what I'm doing is okay because so many people love me, because so many people worship me, because I'm so rich, because I have so much power and authority, or just because so many people smile and laugh when I say something. That must mean I'm right, because I'll stay here and I'll keep doing that with these blinders on, and I'll continue to do that. That's how I, until I went, wait, I had to break out of that to see everything and then live down from my heart. Once I was able to live here, once I was able to get past the pain that was in here and heal, I didn't live up here anymore. I don't have those blinders anymore. And it can prevent me from ever doing that again, to where I would live in such a way to where I would seek power and control over others, or try and take and hoard resources. In my reality anymore. It's not in my mind to do that anymore. It's only in my mind to try and get others to see the totality of everything around them and live from their heart. Like that spot, like on Iron Man. You watch Iron Man, the glowing spot on the chest, which I don't recommend to watch any of the programming. I don't. But that glowing spot on the chest, to me, it almost feels like that glowing spot in my chest is where I live from now. It might not be that bright, and it's not all fancy because it's not the crazy flashy technology of the screen. It's something much more profound and natural and beautiful, I would say. And it's that same light in the heart that we all have. Mine just mine just had to kind of go down inside in there, because it was covered in layers of gunk, to put it politely. Layers of dark, horrible, disgusting, putrid sludge and gunk of a lifetime of unreconciled experiences, I guess. It's my best way to put it. So I had to go down there and kind of really get to cleaning, so to speak, metaphorically, allegorically, spiritually speaking, and really sift through and wade through all that nastiness in there and really look from that space. Look up toward the thoughts in my head as I looked, standing outside up at the sky above me and the sun, and watch the sun over the last couple of years, gaze at the sun, because my eyes were so weak, my perception was so weak. I had to do things to strengthen my eyes, and I also had a bunch of gunk, almost like a fungal type of a fungal type of energy thing that, or things on the surface of my eyes for a while, which seemed to only be exacerbated by the staring at the screen as I searched for information about reality. And before that, it was staring at the screen because I was mesmerized by it, because it was my reality. And then later I realized, oh, that is weakening my eyes to the point to where my mind only sees a 2D screen image now. And my eyes only see a 2D screen image when I look away. So it took me a lot to really clean my eyes, look outside, move them all around in the eye sockets, look at natural light again, enough to where my eyes could start to strengthen and heal little bits at a time, until now to where I can just stare and watch the sun move. Now, they still, at some points and sometimes during the day, they'll water up a touch, and especially when they are spraying so many toxins into the sky on a constant basis. I can see that haze at ground level on some days. Last couple of weeks, it's been most days. It's almost like seeing fog, but very, very, very faint. But I can see the mist and the particulates after a heavy bit of spraying over a period of quite a few hours, which is pretty much continuous anyway. It'll be a few hours of real heavy spraying, then lighter spraying, then heavier spraying, then lighter spraying. But it's a constant day and night thing, all hours of the day and night. I've watched for a couple years, while others have watched for many, many years, while I was not so blissfully unaware, I would say. But yeah, there's a lot of, it seems to me there's a lot of, whether it's sprayed in the air, whether it's from the frequencies that are already here and being used, electromagnetic frequencies, which have been used for decades, decades in the correct way, right way, for the people that could keep it hidden and only want it for themselves. And then it was used in the wrong way as a weapon against the rest of us, the masses, for decades, probably centuries. I can't say. I can't say. I've only been here for about 4 decades now, just over 4 decades, so I can't speak for centuries, but, and I sure don't trust history, so to speak. Because this place is really, boy, once you really look at this place, it's designed to, if you had trust issues before you start looking at things, you'll really have trust issues after, because you see you can't trust anything. You only trust what's inside. Only trust inside. Your heart. Your heart. With the assistance of your gut and your mind. Let the feeling of the pull of your gut in one direction or another to act or not to act in a certain way help guide what the heart feels is right and wrong. And let the mind help guide with what it perceives and analyzes of the situation, just of the situation in general. That for me is the best way. I live life now, moment to moment, every moment. I live in the center of those two things physically, in my heart. That's where my perception comes from, stays, lives in my heart, aided by the gut and the brain. So in physicality, there's another trinity to look at if you want a trinity of feeling, thought, action in that manner. But there's all these trinities you can find everywhere. Physically, spiritually, mentally, there's all these different trinities. And really, it's the best way to operate, because if you operate from a single aspect of self, I'm only going to use what I'm looking at. I'm going to analyze that and I'm acting on it. Well, you might have skipped the heart. The heart might not have got a chance to say, hey, I don't feel this is right or wrong. Because you were living up here, maybe. I used to do that. I used to do that. Now, at least, from the heart, things can come to me and I can consider them or not consider them. It's up to me. And I can consider them deeply and profoundly as much as I want. And decide to take that in or to dismiss it. or to take a piece of it in and get rid of the rest, or to take some of it in and share it. Which what I'm trying to do now is just share things that kind of I can sit here and say, I know these things. I only say I know these things because where I stay, I know them to be true. I know that the words that come out of my mouth, that my brain is forming for me based off what my heart feels and my gut driving me to act and push the button to record myself, at least try. I know what I say is true. From me to whoever I'm speaking my truth. Whether I'm absolutely right or correct on everything I say, I don't know. Because there's so many aspects of things though. And I wouldn't dare to claim to be correct or right on everything. Only that I'm telling the truth. That's all I would dare say to anybody is that I am telling the truth as I see it. And because I'm in that spot though, if I say something that to me is truth, so I say up above me, the sun and moon to me are local. They resonate with their own frequency, which is attached